Let's watch this then.
Bringing up Twitch's big problems is like bringing up my mustache. You're tired of hearing it at this point, but there is a huge announcement that Twitch made that people are quite upset about. How upset? Well, Tips, the leader of OTK, said if this change goes through, OTK will be leaving Twitch, which is crazy because they are one of the most viewed organizations on Twitch. Also added the CEO. Pretty bold move. And if you just search up Twitch right now and go through all of Twitter, people aren't happy. It's impressive how Twitch manages to make the most dogshit changes imaginable. I don't say it lightly, but I think this is a legitimate situation where streamers should consider boycotting Twitch. Twitch is changing sponsorship guidelines to be so restrictive that it makes it impossible for streamers to even advertise. Okay, well, let's first address what the fuck everybody's talking about. And it all started.
This is what we need. We need a bit of an explanation.
Posted by Twitch about branded content.
Need a bit of an
guidelines.
explanation.
Maybe the most boring, dry article you could imagine has somewhat made the entirety of Twitter implode talking about Twitch. But what is the actual content of it? It started with point 1, which is branded content disclosure tool. Basically, now when you do a branded stream, you have to disclose it, which is a law in the US of A at the very least, and is a good thing. You should know when you are watching branded content as a viewer, and if you check this little box, then it'll be embedded.
All right, so it tells you.
Great, easy. Point 1, not a problem. But like most shit sandwiches, it's not the top layer of bread you have to worry about. It's what's in the middle, which is point 2. Prohibited brand sponsorship formats. We recognize that streamers want to collab with brands, but as outlined in the TOS, we maintain the exclusive right to sell, serve, and display ads on Twitch services. This means that
basically
you
just
may
says
not
fuck
insert,
you
embed, or
politely.
burn in pre-recorded ad units into your live streams. What does that mean? Well, they gave a nice little infographic. Somebody worked really hard at Twitch to make these graphics. They look really good, but they made a lot of people upset. So let's go through it. Here are the formats permitted for ads that streamers might want to run.
Panels. You can have like
channel.
stuff behind you.
Panels.
You can have links in your chat. You can like unbox like HelloFresh, for example, on stream.
Products, fair enough.
And you can play sponsored games.
Or maybe have like a pinned link or a Moo bot that posts the link occasionally in the chat. You can discuss products and be like, wow, check out my very cool Nintendo Switch Joy-Con. It has drift still. I don't know how that's legal. And you can play sponsored games. Okay, great. That's all fine. But what are the non-permitted ones? The ones with limitations. The ones that started the shitstorm that has caused Twitter to lose their mind. Well, the first one, logos on stream. On-stream brand overlays are limited to 3% of screen size.
Well, I don't understand why they care about the size.
I've never even heard of this before, especially the limitation of 3.
Like theoretically, right? Having the logo there, whether the logo takes up your whole screen or it takes up the corner of your screen, why is that any different? Do you know what I mean? Like, I get it, it's different, but like, why is that different? Like, how is... If it's sponsored, it's sponsored. If the logo's on the screen, the logo's on the screen. I don't understand how it being 3% is any different to just being there in general.
3%. Partially because that is weirdly specific. I don't even know what 3% of a screen is. Luckily, some other people...
Ludwig streams on YouTube, right?
Found out what it is. Turns out this is 3%. This is it in square form, this is it in banner form, and this is it if you were to put it on the side. It is fucking tiny. It is literally smaller than my webcam. It is not a large part of the screen. So that would impact a lot of banner ads that people regularly do on their Twitch streams. And then the second one is the one that people are very stressed out about, which is that streamers are not allowed to insert video ads directly into their
stream. So this has got a lot of people pissed.
So this is basically like you are sponsored by Campbell's Soup, and then you play a Campbell's Soup ad while you are streaming for 60 seconds, and then it's back to you jerking off, watching the button, whatever the hell's going on. And they say, no, that you cannot do that.
So you can no longer have you can no longer play a video. That one just seems unnecessary. I just don't get it.
Saying, hey, you can't do banner ads, which I guess would also
streamers may not insert display or banner ads directly to their stream. So that means like animated ones.
Anyway, and then you can't have any burned in audio ads, which I've never heard about. I guess that's like if you're doing a podcast maybe, and you have like a podcast ad read. Apparently that's also not allowed.
Like what Dean has with his G2 sponsors, you can't have that.
Outright banned, and this is the main thing people are upset about, which I think is pretty fucking dumb by Twitch, because this is the main way that people who run huge events are able to make money, including me. That's how I make most of my money. Now I'm on YouTube, so it's not as big of a problem for me. But for my Mogul Chess Boxing, here's a baked-in mid-roll ad from Cash App. That is all it is. It's a total baked-in ad that would not be allowed under the current Twitch guidelines. Similar to the KFC ad that we recorded that aired during the Streamer Awards. Another ad that just wouldn't be able to be aired, which is part of the reason they pay the big bucks, those big sponsors, to be able to make events like that happen in the first place. And somebody on Twitter, Brian,
basically
said,
attempting to reduce the number of sponsors, resulting in sponsors going to Twitch. Literally no event can run on Twitch
under these guidelines. Tournaments, league, charity, all of them violate these in so many ways. And so I looked into it, and he's right. I mean, literally, this is a Twitch Prime Gaming, or I guess an Amazon Prime gaming banner giveaway. This is an ad right here, and it is well over 3% and breaks the rule of...
So they've implemented a new policy that they were doing themselves. But does that mean that if it's a Twitch, if it's an Amazon channel, they can continue to do it because it's on the, like, Twitch is owned by Amazon? Or is that going to apply to them as well? Like what?
Inserted a burned-in display ads. That's not allowed under the current guidelines. Now, I fully believe that Twitch is probably trying to target some specific groups of people, and they're not going to blanket punish everyone across the board. But they could be punishing individual creators. Now, part of the reason I believe this, and I guess we'll break this into two groups here.
This is a very strange
charitable
TOS update.
People who are going to give Twitch the least charitable interpretation. Now, if we're going with the latter, if we're going with the least charitable interpretation, this means Twitch is going to outright cannibalize every single ad that anybody was trying to do, any individual creator, any esports organizer, and make them do it through Twitch exclusively. And maybe there's some supporting evidence, like when they tweeted out a month ago, we're testing new experiences to connect streamers and brands by making sponsored streams work better for our community. So they already have things in place to improve their ad sales to their creators, and
so
now
they
they're
want to
removing
be the
other options for creators.
So they want all of your brand deals to be funneled through Twitch. So they're going to implement a way that they give you brand deals and then take 10%, 5%, 20%, however much. And the worst part is, you know for a fact those brand deals aren't going to be available to just every streamer. Like, I would assume that some of the smaller streamers won't have access to that.
So you have no option but to do all your ads through Twitch. That's the least charitable. What's the most charitable? They're getting up to date with a lot of the rules that other websites have in place, including YouTube. Embedded third-party sponsorships in ads in YouTube content. YouTube creators cannot include promotion, sponsorships, or other advertisements for third-party sponsors or advertisers in their videos where YouTube offers a comparable ad format, including, but not limited to, pre, mid, and post-roll ads, aka you shouldn't be allowed, according to YouTube, to have a 60-second ad that you burn into your video that talks about, I don't know, Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons and how they have bad drift. Apparently that wouldn't fly. But if you've watched YouTube for more than a week, you know that does fly all the time. So I think it's some sort of policy that YouTube puts in place to punish groups of people that might be cannibalizing too much of their ad sales because they're doing it at scale rather than...
What, so it's like a clause they've implemented? It's like a clause that they've implemented, but not to be used all the time. So like, it's there, they can do it if they want to, but they won't necessarily do it, is what it sounds like.
Than punish creators. And this is a more charitable interpretation because this basically means Twitch's new guideline falls almost exactly in line with YouTube's guideline. The only caveat I'll say is logos. This one seems crazy still to me. And Twitch can also prove me wrong. This is a time will tell scenario. If in a month from now,
they can
Twitch
literally
is
just
taking down
pick
every
who they
single
want to
creator
fuck over.
who does have a burned-in ad, a 60-second mid-roll ad, or who does have a banner, then this is not at all what YouTube is doing. But in writing, it is the exact same. In practice, it could be a whole lot different. This thing, still crazy to me. I don't know where this 3% came from. It seems oddly specific. It seems way too punishing. But
Surely they knew they'd get a
that
backlash.
this is Twitch's way of trying to target a group of people who is taking up too much of their ad sales because maybe they're doing it at scale, and less so a way to specifically target individual creators who are doing ad sales, who are trying to make money, to make ends meet. Because at the end of the day, that is most Twitch streamers. Most Twitch streamers aren't the top 0.0001% that you think of when you think of Twitch streamers. It is people who are just making enough to live or have a good side hustle going. And this brings me to the bigger point here, which is that Twitch has a PR problem. At its core, that is Twitch's biggest issue. Nobody is going to give Twitch a charitable interpretation for anything they're doing because they have done nothing but make bad decisions over the past 2+ years. Not only make bad decisions, but the way they announce these decisions is always articles that they post at 4 a.m. that are cold, cut and dry, that don't actually answer the questions people want to know. They even have an FAQ at the bottom of this huge article they posted, and all of the FAQ is about the branded content announcement, aka point 1 of the 2 points, the branded content disclosure tool. Nobody gives a fuck about that. Yet every single question is about branded content and disclosure, with the exception of one all the way down here, which is what do you mean by burned in ads?
Bro.
And it just clarifies that you're not allowed to have any mid-roll ads. I feel like it would be a lot better if Twitch were to be more personable. And they just got a CEO who is doing interviews with VTubers who seems a little more hip. So why not have like a sit-down conversation and say, hey, these are our new guidelines. This is why we're doing it. We're trying to keep up to date with other competing websites like YouTube or whatever it is. It would feel a whole lot better if the message came from a human who seems like they care, rather than an article that is trying to be shoved into the anal cavities of 4 a.m., only to be posted by some Twitter journalists like Zach, and then talked about by every streamer known to man who hates the small little read they did about it. I don't know. It just seems brain dead that they haven't figured that out by now, and they haven't changed it. But that's where we currently sit with Twitch and with their new announcement. Time will tell. I am hopeful, always optimistic, that Twitch is not going to go out and attack every single individual who has a sponsorship that breaks these rules, and that it's for some.
But that's even that's risky, because he's saying that as if it's like, you know, people will be able to do it even though it's a rule, but you are still breaking the rule, which means that if at any point Twitch wanted you gone, they could go, yeah, you did this, you're gone. Like, you know?
What's good, bro?
Yo, Anna, thank you for the 14 months, you know. And also, would companies risk, like streamers can risk it, but would companies approve of you doing something that could get like the stream shut down? No.
Other reason, but it's Twitch. So they might just do that. And I think they are further and further pushing people to competitors like YouTube or even Kick or even Rumble, where it seems like a lot of creators are signing by the day. We'll see. Time will tell. But that's another huge Twitch drama. That's why everyone's mad. And hopefully Twitch, come on, man. You know, let's pick it up. Let's pick it up. All right.
Well,
all right, thanks for watching. Have a good one. Subscribe, everybody.
That
Goodbye.
has explained it. That has explained it. Doesn't really make much sense, does it? Surely companies would be put off by something being TOS. Like they're not going to want to pay you to break guidelines, because surely they could then be held accountable. Maybe the whole thing is just weird. Like, what even is Rumble, by the way? Is Rumble a streaming platform? Oh.
It was like, I don't know, nigga.
Kind of like Facebooky. If you look at that, that looks like Facebook. You look at Kick, You look at GTA RP category though, like, I don't know, man. They're fucking over a lot of people. I think it's a dumbass move. Hopefully they revert it. If they don't revert it, I hope that at the least they make changes that need to be made to make it less of a big deal. But you never know, do ya? You never know. But Buddha pulls good numbers on Kick, but that's the size of creator where a platform switch doesn't matter. Like, for example, someone like my size or like the majority of the Mandem size, a full platform switch to Kick could be like career ending, bro. Like, you do that platform switch, you're gone for a year on Kick, you might half, if not lose 2/3 of your community. And then when you come back to Twitch, those people who were your regulars or your everyday watchers might have found new streamers. They might not be interested in what you're doing when you get back. You know, it's like one of those. If all the Mandem moved to Kick, you wouldn't see a drop in views. I don't see myself doing that unless I get put in a position where I really have to do something like that. I will. Even with what's been implemented with the ad stuff, I'm hoping that doesn't affect me too heavily. Obviously, what a great time. What a great time for Twitch to change their ad TOS when I've just moved into a new flat and haven't even been here a month. You know, great timing, honestly. But we'll see how it goes.